technical difficulties, Mr. President.
All right, I think we're going to go ahead and start, and hopefully he will make it on. All right, thank you all for coming. This is getting crazy, but yes, we're still restricted to 10 according to executive order. So I will call the meeting to order. If you'd rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Liz, you still on?
Yes, I'm on.
Is that you, Paul? Paul? Goldrick? And all right. Note that everyone is present in person or by phone except for Paul, who is still trying, having technical difficulties.
Somebody there?
Yes, hello?
Larry, could we maybe have Mr. Duncan resend him the code or resend him the link?
I believe.
You know, there's the alphanumeric code for the online access.
We've already done that.
I think he's having trouble with that.
Yeah, we've already sent it to him.
I'm sending it again.
Okay.
You just,
All right.
you'll just send it again.
I think he might be using, yeah, because if you use the participant code listed, that's not the one they're looking for. Thank you.
Okay. And, huh? Yeah, okay. Okay, and there were comments that myself and Mr. Mazurik are always on the phone. That's because that's where our agenda is. So we follow it on the phone rather than on a laptop or a
Teacher binder.
yeah. All right. All right, and I need a motion, let's see, approval of the board and committee minutes for the regular meeting minutes of February 8th, 2021, the facilities committee meeting minutes of February 18th, 2021, special board meeting minutes of March 3rd, 2021.
Okay, Weissel,
Yes.
Duchess,
Did you hear it, Liz?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Yep.
Pappas,
Yes.
Missouri,
Yes.
Paul, are you on? Goldberg? And Herman.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. I need a motion for approval of the regular meeting executive session minutes of February 8th, 2021, and the special board meeting executive session meetings minutes of March 3rd, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Duchess,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
Missouri,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Weissel,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right. You have the March 20 or the April and March February March bills in your packet, and there were some additional bills just given to us. Any questions?
What is the extra, oh, this was just not in last month's, the Delgado? Is that correct?
Right, that was
Okay.
up in page yet.
Okay.
Any other questions for the March expenses? I need a motion to approve March 2021 expenses as given.
Ducia, so moved.
Second.
Okay, Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
Missouri,
Yes.
Goldberg, are you on? Herman,
Yes.
Weissel,
Yes.
Ducius,
Yes.
motion carried.
Any word from Paul yet, Joe?
Not yet, but I have relayed the link again.
Okay. All right. Is the treasurer on?
I am.
Aha, okay. I guess we're up to you.
All right. It's an exciting report this month. The balance at the Super Now account at First Community at the end of February was $175,284.99. We had outstanding checks of $44,150.86. February payroll expenses, March payroll expenses that carried over, $55,1094. The adjusted bank balance then was $125,623.19. The lunch program balance was $61,9088, and the interest fund was $5,000, leaving the total at $136,814.07. The investment balances ended at $11,571,9721, leaving the balance of all funds at the end of February at $11,707,911.28. We received receipts in February of $958,042.86. Expenses came in at $1,109,636.69. The individual fund balances, education fund finished at $4,332,259.83. The building fund, $2,405,989.01. Bond and interest was negative $12,038.26. Transportation, $1,736,984.70. IMRF, $105,207.89. Working cash, $2,512,927.44. The tort fund, $158,349.48, and life safety, $468,231.19. February interest was $115.24. That rate was down just a hair from January. Rates are starting to creep back up, so maybe at some point they'll reverse and start going up for us as well. State of Illinois made a few distributions in February. State aid, $170,848. EDF, $5,001.72. Title I, $30,499. Title II, $17,500, and Title IV at $4,600. And there were no tax distributions yet. And fund balances are in your packet. Who told you it was exciting?
Hey. But I don't see the milk.
I know.
What?
I'm missing.
Yeah. All right, thank you, man. I need a motion to
No
approve.
problem.
Any questions for the treasurer? Sorry. Hearing none, I need a motion to approve treasurer's report as presented.
Fill out the paper if you want. Did you want to speak?
Oh, I'm not
sure yet. Oh, I was gonna say it was being filled out.
If you do, bring it in, so then, because otherwise that you won't.
I can do that.
Yes. Hi.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved. Second.
Okay, Pappas,
Yes.
Missouri,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Weissel,
Yes,
Duchess,
Yes.
and Hernandez.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right.
Who's up first, Larry?
I have Susan Sowinski. Sowinski.
Hi there. All right.
You just state your name and where you're from.
Yes, sir. Susan Swinsky here in Beecher, over on Winston Plain. I have 2 in the school system. Before I even start though, let me just make myself clear with a few notes. Last time I kind of wung it. There's many that don't see the big picture here for us parents, and myself. This is not in any shape or form a knock or disrespect to any of you, any staff members, any teacher. I hold them in the highest integrity and have formed many good relationships with the teachers themselves. So my first question, really nervous, I have too much coffee. What exactly happens after parents speak here? Okay, last time I kind of rambled on with my husband. We were all asking a lot of questions. Does the board and the superintendent discuss that? Because there's been a lot of questions and concerns that via email from myself and other parents that we've asked and never get direct answers. I would rather have an answer that I don't like versus not at all. And I did form along the lines that if we do raise questions, are they eventually answered? So maybe that's a 2-part. So what is the plan going forward with the superintendent and the transition to the new superintendent of addressing those concerns from parents and the questions? Because I'm always hearing transparency, but yet I have not felt it whatsoever. When will the plans for the next year back to school, so 21-22 school year, be released? I know it was new back last year, and we as parents didn't find out until 2 weeks before school. So I know with the new transition of administration with the superintendent, are we going to find out again mid-August, and then again be scrambling as maybe educators and as parents and family members themselves for our children? COVID committee. I remember way back when, via some communication, one of the many, that we had a COVID committee. What happened to them? Question 1. Who's on it? Question 2. When do they meet? 3. If they meet, when are we going to receive updates on them? And if they're not active, why not? Okay. Back to the school. Again, thank you for extending the school year. That's great. Are the kids going to still be only graded on 2 subjects? Because I think it's just Q4, if I'm not correct, with the extended day. I know that the planning of the lunches and the contact tracing and the passing in the hallways of multiple kids and teachers and staff. I know that was a real challenge to figure out lunch. Is recess, due to the fact I have a second and third grader, and they were so excited, the first thing it says, do we get to play with our friends? So that's a question for my children tonight. Will they be able to have recess? How does that look like? And how is the breakdown of the school day? When are we going to receive that for the extended after spring break? Also, another question I have, what is the code of ethics for board members surrounding social media? I know we have an upcoming election. Some are leaving, some are coming, some new ones. Just want to know, especially with the new turnover for the new superintendent, I would just really hope that maybe some members would have a little more professionalism and integrity when discussing school matters on social media. I know social media, I know there's not very many rules, even though we're very censored. I know they have their personal pages, but once they become board members and are sitting board members, how does that kind of break down for the future when they're discussing board members or school matters? Final thing, I've asked a few questions. I can actually do the next due diligence and maybe type it all up off of my little scratch notes and send it to you people, but when will I have answers for that?
So actually, I think almost everything that you brought up, I'll be addressing later in the meeting.
Oh, well, that's perfect. Then.
I will not touch the board member ethics, however.
Okay.
You're on your own with that one,
How am I on my own?
because I'm not a board member.
Okay, so if I can email one of you guys, if it's written, is it a public matter? Google, if I can answer that question or send an email to direct me, if that's it. Like you guys get elected, the town elects you, then what happens? Do you guys sign your name? Just inquiring.
You can actually look up the code of conduct for board members. It's on our policy, too.
Where at?
In our board policy online.
Online.
Mhm.
Got it. See? Answer
Yep.
the question.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome. Who's next, Larry?
Gee, Melanie Brennenstall.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Good evening. If you'd state your name and where you're from.
Yes, sir. My name is Melanie Brennenstall, and we live at 202 Miller Street. I have 3 kids at Beecher Elementary School, and I'm here tonight because I signed my name to a letter addressed to Mr. Cox and our school board, and I was very disappointed in the response that I received. For a superintendent and board that preaches transparency, I found the response I received laughable, and in fact, when I asked about the next school year, it was kind of brushed off and laughed at that plans were even being considered right now. After calling and emailing, it's clear that I don't think my questions are being taken seriously, although I do hope some of them will be addressed tonight in the reopening item, but I will be following up because I'm not going to make that mistake again of just not paying attention to what's going on. So shame on me for that at the beginning of the school year. For a year, we've been in the midst of a pandemic, and I'll be the first one to say at the beginning, I thought the district did an amazing job pivoting, getting the kids material for school, and then in the fall, I was happy to see that we went back into school, albeit not full day, but more than a lot of other districts in the state were doing. However, I feel like speaking out and now disagreeing with the last several months of what's been going on within our district has caused people to personally attack me and question my respect for our teachers. And I would first like to say I go on record that I love our teachers. My kids' teachers, teachers in the district, our aides, our administrative assistants, our special education teachers, Mrs. Black, every person I have come in contact with at the elementary school, again, my kids are all there, so I haven't gone up any higher, I have nothing but respect for. My issue lies with the board members that stir up drama amongst themselves and within the community, and with our superintendent who cannot answer questions that perhaps are uncomfortable because you're being challenged on decisions. If you are truly for the teachers, then why did you not have a more comprehensive plan in place so that these men and women within our school district were not working themselves ragged trying to do in-person and remote learning at the same time. I think that part of the reason is our plan for the back to the school year was thrown together at the end of the summer and was not designed to adapt to the changing COVID climate in our state. I think people spent too much time focusing on petitions and saving the contract of one individual to really focus on the greater good of all of our students and teachers in the district. I realize it's easy to look back now, and I bring up the past only to encourage our new board and new superintendent to not make these errors again. This year is almost over, but what are we doing next year? This hybrid model is not sustainable long term. I hope our new superintendent is ready and surrounds himself with people who can help, that have different viewpoints, and that will collaborate with him and with the board to find a better solution for our children and for our teachers next year. Because really, no matter your opinion, isn't that what we all want? We want our kids back at school, and we want them to have the best education in this district. So transparency works both ways. So please share with us the information that you have. Let our families weigh in on what's going on. And most of all, let's get our kids back to school and back to full days in the fall. Again, I said at the beginning, I trusted 100% what was going on in the summer with these back to school plans, thinking that they were being planned and gone over and over, and I don't have that same confidence this time around. It's unfortunate for our new superintendent because people I don't think are going to be as trusting of the plan and are going to have, maybe not trusting, but have a lot more questions. And I really hope that this board and our new superintendent is going to be there to answer them for us. So thank you everybody for your time. Appreciate it.
Ashley? Good evening.
Good evening.
State your name and tell us where you're from.
Ashley Belt, 1021 East Eagle Lake Road, Beecher, Illinois. So I want to start off first just commending the admin and staff for continuing to be rock stars this year. I know every meeting I call it out because it should be celebrated, every meeting. I feel as if you definitely do not get enough praise for the incredibly hard work you put in, especially this year. I know that my children's teachers are aware of how much they appreciate them, but they're only in the one building now, so I kind of want to make sure that all the elementary and high school staff also know, like, you guys are rock stars. Like, our district is doing so awesome. I want to remind some parents, or all the parents in the district if they're here, a simple thank you goes a long way towards our teachers. Like, just thank you. I will say again, our staff is going above and beyond what the state is mandating, especially doing the two jobs simultaneously. All with a smile and positive attitude. The hybrid and the live streaming, it's hard, it's stressful on a teacher. They're doing it, they're not complaining, Lord bless them, and they're doing it with a smile, which is, I can tell you, more than it would be for me. I want to go ahead and apologize ahead of time for the speech because it's kind of all over the place, but with the lack of committee meetings, it's really my only outlet to address some of the issues I have for the board. Each month in the superintendent's report, Mr. Cox keeps us informed on how things are going and how the ball is rolling on getting the children back to a more normal schedule, such as full person and day instruction safely. Last month, when the update included the day for all the staff to have the opportunity to go and get vaccinated all at one time if they chose to, I was yet again so proud of our district for taking these first steps to be able to return to full day in-person instruction. Getting it all done at once sped up the process incredibly. I instantly had my fingers crossed for some fourth quarter normalcy for 4 weeks after their second dose. So for the fourth quarter, I was secretly, and when we got that superintendent blog report, I was like, yes, because I just feel like just more normalcy is getting so much better if we can safely do it and the teachers are okay with it. By having the forethought to allow everyone to do this at one time, it really sped our districts up. like, so much. I do want to call that out to Mr. Cox. Because my district, we're still scrambling to try to get in to get first doses. And trying to find subs or whatever when we go hybrid. Doing this all in one day and giving them a second day to do it all in one day, there's no excuses. Now, if they choose to not get vaccinated, that's on them. But there's no excuses. There's no, we have to pull subs. Oh, we don't have subs. We have to pull pairs. How are we going to do lunch because the pairs are supervising lunch? I mean, that's getting rid of all of those issues. And to have the forethought and do that and set that up, like, thank you. I have nothing but positivity for how the district is doing. You've always kept us in the loop of every month. Your goal is to get back in person, and every month you let us know, we have to do this, we're doing this hurdle, we're doing this hurdle. And everything has just been smooth. I have no fear of what will happen for the future planning for next year when the state releases the mandates. I know you guys can't plan for next year when the state doesn't tell you what you're supposed to do. And you can, but why plan to have it just thrown away? It's wasting time, energy, and resources. So I understand you have your dream, which would be full person, and I'm sure that's what you guys are going for. But I understand too, the state's dragging their feet. Now, according to policy number 2.150, committee members may include both board members and non-board members, depending on the committee's purpose. I believe that inviting the stakeholders into the conversation at these committee meetings would be invaluable. For example, for the facilities committee, we have a plethora of trade workers who reside in our town that I'm sure would be happy to lend their expertise to our district and to be able to give their input. It's in our policy that we can have non-board members. I mean, that's something it's free resources. If you've got an electrician that's their job, they could come in and they could tell us for free or say, hey, XYZ without getting bids. I think that might be helpful. And also aids in transparency and also helps get the community more involved in the school. Repeatedly this school year, you voted no to hold a committee of the whole to keep separate committee meetings, yet we have some committees that hardly, if ever, hold meetings. At least with the committee of the whole, there was a meeting every month. At the January board meeting, member Ms. Weissel brought up how she was concerned about the AP test after the announcement of Mr. Daly's passing. Also, some parents have brought up academic concerns about the children not being in school all person, all day. Yet there hasn't been one curriculum committee meeting called by Ms. Weissel to discuss the impact of COVID on academics, how the new RTI program for the junior high and high school is going. Are there any tools that our staff feel they need to help the students be more successful? This entire year. Haven't had one since April 2020. That was the last curriculum meeting. And I couldn't find any record of a parent advisory committee meeting or a behavior intervention committee. Both Ms. Weissel also chairs. I would think that our staff, students, and parents need more support now than ever during this pandemic. So I think we should have committee meetings if we have the committees. If we're not having meetings, you haven't had meetings in years, because according to the agendas on the website, there haven't been these meetings for over 2 years. Why do you have that committee? Then moving on to the finance committee, which Ms. Dushis chairs, with all the concern of the stakeholders brought up every month with our hiring and our finances for the lawyer, I was a little concerned that we weren't having meetings for that, where we could voice our, but I will note, after receiving copies of the November through January bills, I was very pleased that all of the company, after all our complaints of it being over $6K, and it seemed like some of the board members were using them more as personal lawyers than district lawyers, that seems to have stopped. And I'm happy to, that I saw that happen. It's now to $2K a month, which is still a lot compared to what we had with Izzo, but that $6K was ridiculous. And I'm glad that has ceased. And then finally, to the facilities committee, chaired by Juan Hernandez. Even at the last meeting, the maintenance director brought up the lack of meetings during that February committee meeting. With the health and safety audit we got, which is over 50 pages of things that we have to be concerned about, I really think we need to have more than one a quarter. Like, that's something we need to have more of and address that. I will say again, I think the district needs to take a hard look at the fiscality of pouring more money into repairing the elementary versus replacement. If it's getting to the point where we're just hemorrhaging money and the junior high is almost paid off, that's something I think the district needs to look at. It's a shame that we have, I wrote it down, $11.7 million in reserves, and some of our buildings are in the shape they are. So I'm not quite understanding, if we're not holding meetings and we're not doing our committees and we're not coming to meetings, why, I'm going to continue to ask, why are some of us still on the board? Especially when we had a petition we submitted for Liz Duchess and Juan Hernandez were presented with a removal. According to Board Policy 2.30, the board secretary serves as a local election official. He or she receives petitions for the submission of a public question or a referenda and forwards them to the proper election officer, and otherwise provides information to the community concerning district elections. So this question is more for Ms. Duchess. What update do you have on the petition submitted to the board for the removal of Liz Duchess and Juan Hernandez? As a secretary, did you follow due process with it? I'm assuming not, since I did not see it on the April ballot as a referendum. If not, that would be committed willful negligence of duties, and that would thus, I would ask for your resignation. If you refuse, that is, according to Board Policy 2.60, that is exactly the reason for a board vote of termination of removal from the board. So as board members, I just ask you guys have to do better. The children, the staff, the community deserve it. If you want to keep separate committees, that's fine. Meet, have the meetings, have the discussions, invite the stakeholders in to talk, get their input.
Mr. Hermit, excuse me.
Yes, Ms. Duchess.
Yep, could I remind you of our board policy and the time for public comment? Is that not 5 minutes?
I'm done. Like,
yes.
It was literally just last sentence. Sorry, I did go over, sorry. But with the lack of committee meetings, I only have one place I can talk, sorry. I know I had to just.
Thank you.
Who am I letting in now?
Janet Pallmeyer.
Okay.
Excuse me. Allergies are great right now. My baby boy said goodnight, I'm sorry.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, Janet. Would you state your name and where you're from?
You just did. Janet Pallmeyer, 1160 Ash Street. Good evening. I just wanted to commend Mr. Cox, the administration, and our entire staff for continually having our kids always first. Thank you to Brad for the first round of shots completed and the second round coming up at the end of the week. I also want to thank you guys for bringing back some type of normalcy to sports with the YouTube channel. It has been really helpful, even though my kids' sports have yet to start, but it's nice to see the participation and the fun come back. I've expressed this before when I was on the board and again for the last 2 years. I saw the agenda for tonight's meeting and I see there are some coaches' recommendations. Why are these not voted on prior to these coaches participating now in practices? I don't understand how this can be part of this, how can these coaches be part of a staff without board approval? These approvals would literally take 5 minutes, and if you're still using the call-in for meetings, which you are now, it's not that hard to get a quick call and approve these coaches. Another concern that I have, and it's piggybacking a little bit on Ashley's comments, is the concern that I have for the lack of committee meetings. Some have not met in months, and it's truly sad when a principal has to request a curriculum meeting. I think, and it's just really, really sad that a principal has to do that. It's sad that this is a school board, a committee chairperson who claims that he or she are here for the children of Beecher, but yet the last curriculum meeting was back on April 9th of 2000. It's March 8th. It is almost 1 year. And prior to that meeting was October 30th of 2019. No meetings about how COVID has affected our kids, how a death of a teacher is affecting the classroom, test, or even grades, and most importantly of all, how this is affecting our teachers' way to teach. This is not acceptable practice to have 2 curriculum meetings in a year and a half. And if you are here for our children, as you claim you all are, please have more committee meetings more than once a year or even quarterly. Thank you.
Thank you. Adriana DeChinko.
She's good.
Okay.
We lined them up.
All right, good evening, Adriana DeChango, 280 Monhegan.
For now.
Last time.
You can come a little forward.
All right, so good evening. First, I know there's been a lot of just negative or whatever going on, but I just want to say thank you because as a parent of an athlete, I really appreciate what the high school and junior high administrators, the athletic directors, and all of the coaches have done to give us a really good basketball season. We got to go see a bunch of games in person. It was so well done by the staff that was there. The tickets, the cheerleaders, like it felt kind of normal for a while, and it was just really nice. And the coaches working together, because now we've got sports that are blending, and some kids are being pulled in multiple directions. And so the fact that the staff is working so well together, they are communicating with each other, with us, over 8 to 18, and Remind, and it has just been really nice because the kids don't feel like they're making choices. They're able to participate and support each other, and I think that's fantastic. I also want to say thank you for opening up the school a full day. As a teacher, I know that there are plans being made that we don't always get privy to because the state likes to change their mind like every hour of the day, and it is hard to change schedules on kids. You get into a routine as a family and as a teacher, and there are minutes that are mandated to teach subjects, which is different from kindergarten than it is from high school. And so there's so many pieces, but I'm glad that we are back as much as we can be full day, and having those 2 days out for vaccines. I was lucky I was 100% remote. But I know in person it's hard to get subs, and it's very convenient to not have your kids' teachers out for like the next 2 months to get this done, and that there's a continuum of educating our kids. And having no snow days makes those 2 little days, my kids were busy. So they were online, they were doing work. So I appreciate that because it makes it easier, I think, on everybody involved. That communication was wonderful. And one of the emails that one of the coaches sent to me was, we're a small school, we have to work together. And I think that has to transcend across to some of the board members and as a board as a whole. There are a couple of questions that I hope get answered in some way, shape, or form. And I know a lot of times you guys do later in the meeting, so hopefully, we all listen to the entire meeting and read all your communication. One of the cornerstones of the school is curriculum. And it is highly concerning that member state test scores are so important. Curriculum, all these offerings, we all know this is for the betterment of the kids. A school is a school to educate primarily. And I tell my kids, you're student athletes, not the other way around. And we know there's going to be struggles. Kids are missing out on some things. That is just going to happen normally, let alone in this pandemic. And yet, after a year, we have no curriculum updates. We get it from the principals, which is amazing, and they're the experts. And we need it from them. But as a board, to be informed about what's going on shouldn't just happen because you get a minutes and you get a speech at a meeting. It should be a continuing form of communicating. And it should be consistent, and it should be relevant, and it should be informative. And hopefully, when you get that information, you pay for things. Because sitting on $13 million is irresponsible when we get needs. We need to be funding those needs. Whatever is the greatest needs and the easiest needs, I'm hoping that you're going to fund them. Because if you're for the kids, then there you go. I mean, that's what you're here for. Secondly, our facilities. We got a really nice 52-page document from the state of Illinois who did a whole lot of research, and they gave us a whole list of things that need to be fixed a year ago. And we really haven't heard what has or hasn't been accomplished. And so I'm going to hope in people's professionalism as an employee, as a board member, as a whomever is involved in those decisions, that some of that got fixed, and hopefully some of that will be informed, that we'll know what you guys did, because there's only 4 meetings in the year. And when they meet at 9 a.m., it can be difficult for the community to be active. And if that's when all the committee can meet, well then you kind of have to live with it. But that is why social media is so important. Police departments use it, villages use it, schools use it, businesses use it. And that's a very nice way, and I am very appreciative of the members who do answer our questions or direct us to where we're supposed to go to find that information, because it's responsible for the betterment of our kids to communicate with us. And in any way that's easier, especially when board members don't come in person, or we're limited to the number of people, or we have technology issues sometimes of listening to the meetings at that time. However, all of those items, it really, frankly, pissed me off when a board member says it wasn't under 60 for that long. That's negligent. That was a horrible comment, I'm sorry. My 5-year-old should not sit in a classroom below 60. If that's what happened, the response from that board member at that facilities meeting should have been, I'm sorry, we're going to address it. When your boiler was told 2 years ago it needed to be fixed, a year ago it needed to be fixed, that's not an appropriate professional response. That's just inappropriate. Additionally, you're told that things will flood, soccer fields flood. We're gonna have 3 seasons over the next 6 months. That needs to be addressed. It's been told, you're told what to do and how much it's going to take. There's no more research that's involved. You get a bid, you fix it. That's just what happens. So whatever it is that your administration tells you on that list of wish lists and what the state tells you, it is my hope that you guys address as many as you can. Maybe you push something off for next year, we understand. But have a plan, communicate the plan, and then pay for the plan. Because at the end of the day, you're here for the betterment of our kids. Put your words into action instead of inaction. And be proactive, not reactive. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim Pena.
I'm sorry, was it Kim?
Kim?
Thank you.
Hi, Kim, if you'd state your name and where you're from.
Kim Pena, and I'm on Clemmy Road, Beecher. I come to you tonight with 23 years of medical experience and talking about masks and the requirement of masks for students. In 23 years, my career has been built on the CDC and the WHO's guidelines, who over the past year and a half or so have changed their tune several times on any sort of PPE that has been used by anyone from laymen, students, instructors, medical, you name it. In my day of nursing, we would be written up in the lease for wearing PPE from one room into the next. It just was not a thing, it was not allowed. Not only was that not a thing, it was not a thing to wear a mask for a virus. Surgical masks were made to stop sweat or spit from coming out of a surgeon's mouth and going into an open wound during a surgical procedure. It wasn't to stop a virus. In fact, I heard a good analogy not that long ago. The size of a virus is measured in smaller than micrometers. And if you could imagine a grain of sand being the size of a virus, and then think about the mask. What are we using? Some are homemade out of some sort of cotton, some of them are surgical masks, some of them are bandanas, and if we picked up a handful of sand and we threw it at a chain link fence, the chain link fence would represent the pore size in the mask. And it's absolutely doing nothing. I just feel as though we probably could have opened our school even in the half a days with no masks and probably had no more cases than we already had. So there was really no science behind masks. There's no science behind temperature checks. The amount of people that are exhibiting the symptoms with a fever of COVID is like very small amount. So again, that is just one resource. All these schools and everybody have bought all of these thermometers, and we've wasted all this money when they could be used on other resources. We don't use masks every season for the flu. That's not a thing. We don't say, oh, flu season is upon us. Get your masks out. It's October. It's not a thing because they don't work. And if all of you in the school was so convinced that masks worked, why did they just shut down the basketball season? When these kids were playing their hearts out and doing so well and have a few games left, and due to contact tracing from a week ago, that they played a basketball game with someone from, what, Illinois Lutheran in Crete. Now they've shut down the basketball season. The seniors on the team have to complete the rest of a quarantine. They have to miss out on their senior awards night, their homecoming, spirit week. Have we not taken enough from these students? These kids deserve to live. They deserve to have their life in high school, everything they look forward to. We hear about a pandemic. I haven't seen one dead person laying in the street anywhere. Mask mandates didn't even apply to the homeless. I haven't seen any of them laying dead in the streets. And then we talk about going back more of a full day. That's wonderful. These kids need to be in school. Depression is the highest it's ever been. Suicide is higher among teens and adults than it's been. Lives have been shattered because of this. Dreams have been destroyed. And now we're going to go back to partially, mostly a full day. And I understand, there's no way to social distance, especially during lunch. But they're going to be allowed to sit down and remove their mask, right? They have to eat lunch with a mask off? Are we going to make them put their mask on in between each bite? No, we're not. So why can't they sit down at their desk in their classroom and take off their mask? Okay, so if you wanted to wear a mask in passing period, okay. You wear a mask in the bathroom, okay. But if we can let them sit down and eat lunch without a mask on, why can't they sit down at their desk and take off their mask? I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense when you use your head and the science that we've had. And I do want to take a moment to thank all of the teachers. I'm also an educator. This has complicated things more than imaginable. These teachers have done way more work than we could ever have imagined was possible. Flopping between in-person and online and just preparing things for online, these teachers have been amazing. And I want to thank them, from the bottom of my heart for all of that hard work. And I would really like to challenge all of you. There's many states who have not shut down, who have not mandated masks. There's counties right here in Illinois that said, you know what, I understand that the man down in Springfield is saying one thing, but we're not doing it. And they've been no worse off. And I just challenge all of you to really think about it and say, okay, if these students can go back and they can take their masks off to eat, then we should be able to allow them to take their masks off in their classroom as well. So, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Crystal.
Hi. So I'm going to be rude to you guys. I'm going to turn my back to you because I'm going to address this to the parents. That's okay. So,
Crystal, if you'd state your name and where you're from.
I'm sorry, Crystal Johnson, 308 Pine Street.
Thank you.
Beecher. I have 4 kids in the district. All right. I've heard a lot the last couple weeks. I'm just extremely disappointed in the parents. You walk in and say that you love our teachers and that you mean no disrespect for them or the staff or the board, and that's a bold-faced lie. If you respected the teachers and the staff, you would trust the process and trust the staff that they're doing everything they possibly can to help your kids learn and be successful. You also would never demand them to be in person all day before they're vaccinated, and then complain when they get vaccinated that your kids were remote. You can't have it both ways. If you truly wanted your kids back in person, full day, then you would want them to get vaccinated as soon as possible with whatever effort it took. This is a worldwide pandemic. Our staff is doing more than most districts that I know of, yet our parents still don't think it's enough. All you are doing is hurting our teachers that are working their asses off, and I mean more than they have ever in their entire career. We will lose our amazing teachers if you continue to attack this process, and good luck finding new ones. Nobody's going to school to be a teacher right now, and you wonder why. as a district, they cannot give you a plan for next year because the state has not given us any guidelines on what next year is going to look like. So if you want to go and attack people and you want to complain, then go to the state and go to the representatives that are causing all of this. This is not the board, this is not the teachers, and this is not the staff doing this or making these choices. That's everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen.
Anyone else?
Is there anyone online?
No, no one with their hands raised.
Did Paul make it online?
He was on briefly, but for about 5 or 10 minutes, but he never was able to connect to audio, so there must be some difficulty with it.
Okay. Yeah, he has a very bad signal out by his house. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to staff reports. Mr. Cox.
Yeah, the two things that I wanted to address, they give me a heads up that we need these conversations. The first one is we have our submittals in for our health insurance broker, and so we actually received 3, which is great. We always like to have multiples, so you can have those conversations. And so again, that renewal is coming up July 1st, so we need to continue to move this conversation forward. So in the next week or two, sometime before spring break, we need to have either a committee meeting or a committee of the whole to vet these 3 proposals and make a recommendation to the full board. And so this is a significant process. If you look at what health insurance, what that piece is, in any given year, it's probably between 7 and 9% of every, of all money that we spend. So 8 cents out of every dollar we spend on health insurance. This is a big conversation. So my recommendation would be a committee of the whole, get everybody on the conversation to vet these 3. But if you want to have, either the personnel committee or the finance committee, or you're the board, however you want to do it, we just need to do it.
I would imagine that the entire board wants to vet this. I'm seeing
I would.
I'm seeing heads shaking.
Yeah.
Ron?
Sure. Yeah, whatever the board decides.
Liz?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then we'll set it for a committee of the whole.
Okay, do we want to try to set that date now, like maybe next Wednesday? I know that Wednesdays tend to be good.
Let me check. So,
Let's see, that would be the 17th?
I can do it, yes, later that day.
No, wait, is that St. Patrick's Day?
That's
It
St.
is.
Patrick's Day.
I have no problem with that part. I'm open every other, at that night too, so.
So maybe a 7 o'clock meeting, 30-minute presentations from the 3, and should be able to hopefully move forward.
Yeah.
Time's all right?
7 o'clock's fine.
I don't like that.
Liz? 7 o'clock next Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, put it on the calendar.
Thank you, much appreciated, everybody.
Yep.
It's an important conversation. Also, I had mentioned that we would like to have a curriculum committee meeting, and so Carla, we traded some emails about that today. Do we have a date set for that, or do you want to game plan that?
Well, how about Monday?
Monday?
7?
Yes. Yep, I can do that. The 15th?
Right.
Okay.
That'll get me out of the bachelor, so I appreciate it.
Well, now I'm not happy about that. Okay.
Being honest.
I know. Poor Kenny.
Monday,
Andrew.
7, next Wednesday, at 7.
Jana, we'll meet Tuesday for the Bachelor.
I know.
Okay.
And then I will have further conversation on our current move from 11:30 to 2 later in the meeting.
Okay.
Okay. What time is your curriculum?
7.
7.
Mr. Cox, you know, there was a few things here that I want to address with you as a superintendent.
Yep.
I understand that, you know, there was a mention of you can't plan for the future, and I disagree with that. That was made. I just want you to know that you can make that plan moving forward, and we can always change it, whatever law the law is, because you've got to follow law. But I do believe that moving forward, there should be a plan moving forward. So I know that the team is working on it. You know, I mean, we've had the best of both worlds with the remote and in person. But I mean, any plan, a plan is better to have a plan than have no plan. So I know you guys are working towards it. You know, I heard about transparency. I'm a big board member here on transparency, and I don't know what the conversations are. Like I said, I don't micromanage, okay? But if they're not getting the answers to wherever they are, you know, could you just please follow up with them, because transparency is key with our community.
Yeah, and as I alluded to, that'll be a part of the conversation here in a few minutes.
Of course. Well, you're on your report, so I figured I'd talk to you there.
Yep.
Mrs. Black.
Hello, everyone. I don't really have anything overly exciting in my report. Does anyone have any questions about anything that's here?
No, but thank you for your wish list.
You're welcome.
Did you post for hiring for the lunchroom supervisor thing?
I have.
You did? Okay.
I have, yes.
Okay. And I like that school improvement day coming up on Wednesday, March 10th for the,
Yep.
alignment.
Yes.
I always appreciate that.
Beginning conversations.
Yep. You had the percentage on here too, right?
I do.
Yes. So it went up for remote
Yes.
versus in person at the elementary at least.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we've been right about.
Were you at 80 already?
Yeah, we've been
Okay.
pretty close to that.
Okay. I thought it was 70-30. So did you find that after, it was more comfortable after the holidays, that you had more people increase the number for in person or not?
To be honest, I did not. Like, we have a running document
Mhm.
that we keep at the school, because with people who need to quarantine and things like that, to be able to access and see exactly who's in the building at any given time. So I honestly can't speak to exactly when that is, because I don't sit down and calculate those percentages that often. I did this now because I just felt like, as we look at extending the day, it would be interesting to see where we're at right now and see if that changes when we extend.
Absolutely. Okay, cool, thanks.
So the elementary school typically has run, when you talk about remote learners, in the low 20%. The junior high and high school have been running for months now, kind of in the high 30s. And so you put that in the wash, and we're at about 30% as a district.
Oh, for total, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Meyer.
Hello. I need to change something where I said our Scholastic Bowl is going to be live streamed. It will not, due to the language in the moderator script from the IESA site, which says copyrighted and cannot be recorded in any way. So that's why we have backed off our live streaming of Scholastic Bowl. Math team, we are going to have a Canwell math contest, and that'll be April 14th, and we will not have the spelling contest. So I've talked a couple weeks about, or whatever, a couple months about sports, and I know if it was Liz or someone brought up, hey, we're still gonna do our academic stuff. And so yes, we're gonna do 2 out of the 3. We'll do Scholastic Bowl in person. Our kids are going place to place, but no spectators, and then math contest, but no spelling contest. So, little update on, I gave you some poor information, so we had to backtrack, sorry.
You gave the information you had at the time.
It's just frustrating when things change in the heartbeat, when you put something in on Thursday and we switch by Monday. So, it's just frustrating. I don't want to give you any bad information.
If you would have prepared that on Sunday, would have been.
But then that'd make Marla's life just miserable, so I'm trying to make sure she's on the up and up.
Has there been the talk of any conversation about promotion? No, too soon to tell. That's what I figured.
It's the same thing with our 8th grade boat trip.
Mhm.
We're still scheduled for that.
Okay.
but
When is the
May
schedule?
14th.
May 14th? Okay.
So we'll see.
I know.
No, I don't know.
That's where we're at with everything. I get it. Okay. Just wondered.
Sorry.
No problem.
Any questions for Mr. Meyer? Going too easy on him.
Stop.
I'll think of one.
I know.
I'll call you back.
I know. Best of luck anyway, Mr. Gahan. Best
Did
of
you,
luck.
I had mentioned about the percentages specifically at the school. Did you see that or?
33%.
33's on remote?
Correct.
Okay,
Our
so
remote is
right along
33%.
the norm. Okay,
79 out of, I think it's 79 out of 239?
Great.
Something like that, but yes, 33%.
cool. And thank you for everything that you did for junior high sports as well, by the way. I appreciate everything. And at least on video, the gym looks phenomenal.
It does.
It really
It's in
does. I
good
mean,
shape.
it's videoing perfectly.
No, it's in good shape. And we've
Yeah.
got 3 girls that are doing a really nice job that have gone back and forth with trying to learn and trying not to, because anytime someone moves in the bleachers, the camera, it is
Yeah,
on
I
a
know.
tripod, so I mean, but it does look like you're, sometimes you're in a boat. But
Right? No, it's
okay.
great. Honestly, I don't even notice that at all.
No, it's good. Still no, and I did have this down, no spectators for regional or sectionals. That's due to IESA rules.
Yes.
Not even ours, so. But our 7th grade one tonight, we play Limestone on Thursday.
The 7th grade volleyball?
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry, yes, I forgot about basketball. I didn't get the
I know,
score
right?
on that one.
Okay.
At Limestone.
And they won tonight
At
against
here,
Moments.
Oh, we beat Moments tonight, yes.
That's right.
volleyball. 6 o'clock regional, so we'll live stream that on Thursday.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anything else?
No.
So all the regionals are in Beecher?
No.
No, just that?
We are the 2nd seed, so Saturday our 8th grade plays, because we're the 2nd seed.
In Beecher?
But in Beecher,
Oh, fun.
I think it's 11 on Saturday, but then if we win, I'm not for sure if it's Bishop I don't remember
Okay.
who the 1 seed is, so
Okay.
they would host.
Yeah, everything's so with the schedule and
Yes.
everything, so I appreciate that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Graham, you're up.
Mr. Graham.
What's nice is next year I get to make the agenda and I don't have to call you.
No, I said best of last.
All right, before you can ask me many questions you like about the board report, 2 things I want to point out that were not in there. First off, the SVC, which is our soccer conference, the ADs met and they did a vote. The vote was 5-1, Beecher being the 1-no vote, on fan attendance at outdoor games. So the SVC is not allowing any fans, even though it's outside, at any of the events.
Wait,
For soccer.
Soccer.
As an SVC conference, they met and the SVC decided that's what they're gonna do. And not only that, if they find out that we have fans there, they will take the bus and go back home and not play the game.
Whoa.
So that we found out Tuesday or Wednesday, was with that meeting.
If only my tracking from junior high games for softball could be used as an example.
So in that regard, we will have a senior soccer night. We'll just play a non-conference team to make sure that those families can be involved in that.
Nice.
We're going to try, when you say it that way. Secondly, I know Ms. Pena alluded to it, and obviously it happened today. The contact tracing that happened with the varsity team, here's the actual timeline. And you'll find out at no point in time were we at fault here. We played Monday, knew nothing about anything. Illinois Lutheran didn't tell us. Tuesday night, Illinois Lutheran played Tri-Point. A student at that time started feeling sick. Thursday, said student from Illinois Lutheran went and got tested. Their results didn't come back till Sunday. So we were contacted last night at 11 p.m., hey, you need to look into this. We called Will County Health Department, they told us exactly what we need to look for. So we spent this morning watching the game, is really what it is. Find out there were some less truths provided to us, and then once we had all the information, Will County told us we still had to do it, even though it's a week out. Those kids were within 48 hours of the actual test for symptoms.
Yeah.
So that's why it looks really goofy. Why are we quarantining kids for only a week? Because we did not know for a week, and then once we knew, the Will County Health Department said, this is what you have to do. So Beecher had nothing to do with any of this, outside the fact saying, yep, that kid's ours, that kid's ours, that kid's ours. That's how it works out.
Yeah.
So it stinks. We are either going to do a senior night recognition at a volleyball game, so at least that might help out. We're hoping to maybe push the homecoming court announcement to a volleyball game, but we're trying. So please don't think that we're just, well, too bad for kids. That's not going to happen, but we don't have any varsity sports basketball left.
Okay.
Oh, and I got 2 applicants for the art position.
Wow.
So we're gonna start looking. One of them is a young lady, they're both from Eastern. One of them actually did her student teaching in Memorial, and another one did her student teaching in, let's say, Piatone.
Wow.
So they're 2 semi-local people. So I'm happy to see that. So from here on out, any high school hire, Mr. Meyer's gonna head, just so everybody knows.
And this will be full-time?
It's again, we have them both, but yeah, we're gonna do probably a full-time art / student support services.
That's great.
Cool. Any questions about my report beyond that?
Hearing none?
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, just like we planned it, Mr. Gann provides a very natural segue. I want to go back and recap one of the things that he was just saying about the current situation with contact tracing. When it comes to anything related to COVID, Will County Health Department drives that bus. Right? We contact them, they're the experts. We're the educational experts, they're the health experts. We contact them, whatever it is that they say that we need to do, that's what we do. The Will County Health Department takes their lead from IDPH. IDPH has, for the most part, worked in conjunction with the Illinois State Board of Education. And so all of these things get funneled to us, and that's what we do, right? So whether it's taking directive from the county health department or following governor executive orders, like tonight, 10 people in a room. I don't know how that makes any sense, but that's what we're doing. The governor signs an executive order, that's what you do, right? So as we have worked through this, when you look back in July, August, and we had our COVID task force, 3 different subcommittees came up with a reopening plan. That's the plan that we have had in place as we've worked through the school year. As we continued every week that goes by, several times a week, so our administrative team is in constant contact, obviously, with our school nurses, who are our local health experts. Our school nurses and our administrators are in constant contact with the Will County Health Department. We get missives from the Illinois State Board of Education that might change something that we have to do. All along, as these things change, then we have to change to follow. We also are in very close contact with all of our neighbors, because you don't want to try to reinvent any of this wheel. And so we're in constant contact with Piatone and Grant Park and Mantino, and how are they doing things and how are they implementing these things, right? And I know that it's really easy to just take a second and compare and say, oh, well, this district's doing this, why aren't we doing it? The demographics on everything in education change as soon as you go 5 miles down the road. And this is a perfect example, right? So if we go north, the number of families who are keeping their kids at home to remote learn goes way up. If you go to the south, it goes way down. And what you can do in your school environment, how all that looks, varies greatly with the percentage of kids that you have that you're trying to teach at home. Okay? So we're in constant contact with administrators at other districts, trying to figure out what the best plan forward is. As I sent out last week, as you all know, we've been in person, about 70% of our students, up till 11:30. And so now that I'm confident that the majority of our staff is vaccinated, now we're going to put ourselves in an environment where if we're very, very unlikely to have a scenario where something's going to close us down. And so we're able to extend the amount of time that we have in our on-campus environment. And so extending that until 2 o'clock does a lot of great things. It gets kids more, it gets that 70% more contact time with their teachers, more interaction with all of their peers, right? You know, we've had some great parent comments, you know, tonight, and it's been, you know, my elementary school kid and then my junior high kid. I've got an elementary school kid. You know, I get it. The more contact they have with teachers and peers, the better off they are. And so, extending that school day, I think, is a huge positive. Another thing that was said tonight over and over again is the amazing job our teaching staff is doing. Could not agree more. You look at the statistics that we had presented from the principals at the last meeting. I think that was just the last meeting. Mm-hmm. To have data that shows that since we've had this dual learning environment, kids in the classroom, kids at home, and that our test scores are coming back, there are no words to describe how proud I am of our staff, that we are getting educational gains in this environment, and moving till 2 o'clock should just be able to make that happen even better. Obviously, with the 2 o'clock return, a big one is lunch, because you have to take your mask off to eat lunch. And so what we'll do, elementary school, junior high, is we will space kids out a little bit, face them all the same way. You can only have 50 per room, so we'll actually have room dividers in the lunchrooms, so creating 2 separate rooms, so we can get up to 100 kids in each lunchroom by creating 2 lunchrooms. I get it. There's no other way you can have lunch other than take your mask off. But we're going to try to minimize that as much as possible. I talked a little bit about last summer's COVID committee. My assumption is the exact same thing is going to be done again next year. Until Illinois goes to phase 5, then according to everything that's set in place, there's going to continue to be an at-home option until we go to phase 5. I don't anticipate being in phase 5 in August. I hope I'm wrong. But Mr. Gaham, I know, will do a great job of putting another task force together in the summer. And again, it's important to plan and it's important to have conversations and to make contingencies. But when we know that this summer is going to be just like last summer, in that the state board and IDPH are going to release their guidelines the 1st of August, it makes it hard to really have a bunch of different plans. You put as much in place as you can. I know that parents are frustrated by what I'm going to call the lateness of all that process, but we're frustrated as well. But we can't move until we get those guidelines from IDPH.
And it's not like you don't have any plan. You have all these ideas and plans and discussions, but what you can implement is another thing.
Of course, and I assume this next summer is going to be like the last. We will all summer developing all kinds of different contingencies for what might finally drop. With where we are right now, sorry I'm skipping around a little bit, trying to get to all the talking points that people have brought up. With where we are right now and this expansion to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's going to be implemented after spring break. We're still working out all of the exact details on that. When is elementary school recess is going to be and how many times a week and all of that. When we get those details set out, then we will have an addendum to our existing reopening plan. And I'll do another online Zoom Q&A like I did in August. I think I had 115 people on, and we'll just can let everybody ask whatever questions they want to get as comfortable with whatever the particular topic is. I also know another question that was raised was in the last month or 6 weeks, when we've had some snow days, we've gone and had some, and we use those as all remote days. Really, I think that's the kind of the intention behind the whole e-learning push that's been going on for probably the last 3 or 4 years. And COVID actually forced us to a place where we were able to have a good plan in place for that. So I think you could argue both sides of that coin, but I do know that our students were very active on those days. Those days, we won't have student work on Teacher Institute days. Those are not calendared school attendance days, right? Those are teacher work days. And so just wanted to clear that up. Any other questions?
No, I think you guys have done a great job. Like I said, the plan, and I heard you say plan 3 times in your addressing us. And as I said, but I'll go back a few minutes ago. A plan, and we all know that plans can be forecasted out. And you're working on them now. You're working on the 2 o'clock one now.
Yep.
And look, so if anybody's baffled by what I said earlier, that's what I mean. They're working on a plan.
Mhm.
I understand it. If the governor and them and the state and them come in and they shut you down, that's just, you have to follow their rules.
Mhm.
I get it. But, if we could just what I'm saying is, because I heard a lot of transparency out there. I don't know who the COVID committee is, but if they could you guys can address that, and then when you guys come up with something, things can change, and things can change at any given time per the state law or whatever. I think if you just put that out there, I believe that people are more understanding of it. That's just my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong, but it's my opinion.
Sure, yeah, and just to reiterate, the COVID committee, they had the 3 different subcommittees. That work was done to develop the initial plan over the summer. It's a plan that we've used as the backbone as we've gone through and tweaked things. Our administrators continue to get that information from whether it's IDPH or ISBE or even the governor's office. Our administrative team continues to work with our local nurses, with Will County Health Department, with area school districts. And so what we have upcoming, the expansion to 2 o'clock, that's why I think it's a good idea to actually, to document and then to have, some sort of a Q&A with the public so parents can ask any questions and understand, because we're gonna basically what we're asking parents is, look, we're gonna have your kid for another 2.5 hours. Are you okay with that? Mm-hmm. Well, before I can answer that as a parent, I need to know what we're talking about, right? And so not only we're gonna have that in a written word, but we'll give parents the opportunity to ask those questions.
You guys done an amazing job.
Yeah, and like I wanted to say too, every single month, Mr. Cox has explained and answered every single question, and sometimes, he may respond, well, we're following IDPH or whatever, every single month, he answers everything. There's never any questions that, we know, you make sure, whatever everybody says in public comment, because we don't think of everything, he'll always explain and everything. I feel like he's being transparent. I feel like this is a conversation that we have had every single month, not the same conversation, but we've gotten so much information too, but as we know, everything changes so much by the week. I just heard CDC said we don't have to wear masks in small groups of people if we're vaccinated. Oh my gosh, okay. But Mr. Cox has driven the train this year.
Nobody's blaming Mr.
Yeah,
Cox.
yeah.
I don't want to make that clear.
Well, none of us are, yeah.
We're just trying to be as responsible as possible in the information we're given.
Right. And
Without
sometimes we all get
breaking law.
excited.
Yeah, I would add-
back in, but we can't.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Liz.
I would add just a thanks and an emphasis for all the continued work and focus on the education for our kids this year. Think that that has gone as well as it could in the circumstances, but also think that encourage the administration and teachers and all involved, including parents and the board, et cetera, to also think about opportunities for improvement here. And one thing that I would especially like to follow up on and expect Mr. Cox to do this in the near future, just like you said, is make sure that that plan is documented, make sure that it's clear, it's organized well, and then timely communicated. I would emphasize, to the parents. Again, this is coming before spring break, so that's 2.5 weeks or so away. So as we keep that in mind, realizing that there is a timeline here and a sense of urgency around it in order to get that information out to appropriately have any further Q&A reviews or participation by parents or other parties involved as well. So please take that into account and expect that communication in advance ahead of that timing that you reiterated. And again, I ask for everyone's patience as we continue to persevere through this challenge, and also, let's work on this together for a good proactive plan to address the future in the end of the school year.
Absolutely. There was one question that I had written that, do you know anything about the grading as we extend? Like, are you at the BS?
That will be in the details.
That's one of them. That's one of the details. Okay.
Of course.
To come.
No, and that's a great question.
Sure.
I don't remember who asked it, but it was a great question.
Miss Sawinski.
Because for the first 3 quarters of the elementary school, it's been a focus on ELA and math.
Yeah.
And so now going to 2 o'clock, going to be able to incorporate some science and social science. And so it's a great question on exactly how that's being handled.
And which thankfully the teachers, they're still doing.
Yep.
We're just not assessing.
And that'll be a part of those details as well.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate the question.
Any other questions for Mr. Cox?
And then in addition, I'll add one more comment, Larry, is that, if there are unanswered questions from the public or otherwise from the board, staff, et cetera, always, Mr. Cox is definitely your point person there, so we need to follow up. And again, if there's something that we can do, I can circulate information or willing to do that for the board members as well.
All right, thank you.
Good work. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to the press policy update. I need a motion to approve the second reading of press policy update issue 103.
Just add on that, Larry, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
On policy, this is going to be the second reading. It's going to be done. I want to thank the committee, Julie, Carla, got it done. Policy, I think it's the first time it's been updated since I've been on the board. But now that all we have to do after these and next meeting and they get approved is just add on the additions or subtract them from whatever that Illinois Association. So thank you guys, and go ahead.
Okay. I need a motion to approve.
Second.
Berserk,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Weissel,
Yes.
Ducius,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
motion carried.
Need a motion to approve the press policy update issue 104, second reading.
Oh, so moved.
Just go ahead.
Second.
Herman,
Yes.
Weissel,
Yes.
Ducius,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
Berserk,
Yes.
motion carried.
Need a motion to approve press policy update 105, second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Herman,
Yes.
Weissel,
Yes.
Ducius,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Pappas,
Yes.
Berserk,
Yes.
motion carried.
Need a motion to approve press policy update issue 106, the second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Weissel,
Yes.
Ducius,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Pappas.
Yes.
Missouri.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. So with that, that should bring us up to date.
Yes. Nice job, Ron.
Woo-hoo.
Appreciate it. The team, man, it's not me.
So good.
Okay, moving on to the AC investigation update.
I don't know what this means.
I don't either. Did you put it in there? I didn't.
Anyone call it? Liz?
Is that the PAC investigation?
Correct.
My question for Mr. Cox was just an update on any additional information received or update from the state.
We have no updates.
Okay, and I think here too, just a reminder that I think all information has been provided, so there's no new requests out there, correct?
Not that we're aware of.
Okay, moving on to new business, committee reports. Facilities, weight room flooring?
Yes, so we had a facilities meeting where it was brought to our attention that the weight room the floor is being all messed up with the weights dropping, so request was made to have some padding put on that floor, a new tile, the extra thick for the weights. So we're bringing a recommendation to the board to approve the bid for $20,439.44 to get that room done.
I just was wondering, is it sure that this includes the prevailing wage and everything, so we don't have like an upcharge, but just because it's out of state?
Always.
Oh, well, there was that.
Clarify, this is just the product.
Just the product.
Installation, this is not.
Who installs
Our
that?
yes, our staff's gonna do it.
Maintenance. Okay,
Sorry,
cool.
Ron, I didn't mean-
Just making sure. Okay, thank you.
Now, is this just a pad on the floor, or are they removing the floor and putting a different?
No, I think it's just the pads,
It's like a gym.
that interlock
Yeah, like
together,
a-
like in gyms and all that, with the free weights to go over that. So
Oh, okay.
it stops messing up the tiles underneath.
And just, everybody was there. We talked about this several years ago too, and you
Okay.
know, and it just came up to fruition, and it's like it was due.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to make that a motion?
Sure, I make a motion that we go ahead and approve the weight room flooring with the bid of $20,439.44 as presented by E.J. Welch and Company.
Second?
Oh, I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, Duchess.
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Pappas.
Yes.
Missouri.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Weissel.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, I need a motion to accept the retirement of custodian Jose Urquizo, effective May 5th of 2021 as presented.
And I thank him for his service to the district. He's been wonderful, I know.
So moved.
Second.
Duchess, second.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Pappas.
Yes.
Missouri.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Weissel.
Yes.
Duchess.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to accept the resignation of Debbie Hermanson as administrative assistant effective March 29th of 2021 at the elementary.
And this, I have to say too, for whatever reason it is, she is a pillar in our district for 20 years. So thank you, Debbie, for absolutely everything you've done for our children and our teachers and our parents. You will be missed.
Very polite.
Yeah.
Would you care to make that motion?
So moved. I was gonna say no, but it's fine. I wish her the best.
Ron?
Okay, Pappas.
Yes.
Missouri.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes, regrettably.
Yes.
Duchess.
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion to accept the resignation of Jessica Schroeder as freshman volleyball assistant coach.
So moved.
Disha, second.
Missouri?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I need a motion to accept the employment of Riley Bowler as freshman volleyball assistant coach.
So moved.
Second.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to accept the employment of Alyssa Kraus as assistant high school girls and boys soccer coach.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Disha, second.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Do we need to take this into executive first?
No, because everything that we discussed and
As presented?
Yep, okay, the guidelines you provided me, everything was met, there wasn't any extra pieces to it.
Okay. Oh, go. Wait till you hear what the...
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I need a motion to accept the employment of the junior high principal, Michelle Kwasny, as per the guidelines that were presented at the last special board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Disha, second.
Okay, Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Hernandez? I'm sorry, Herman?
Yes.
And Weissel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr. President, just so you know, she's currently in my office, so she's in transit here too.
Oh.
I told her she is expected to have a lengthy speech, seeing that she's
yeah.
replacing Mr. Meyer. So get ready.
Yes, we need
But she wanted to come and say,
Okay.
she is.
Awesome.
Excellent.
I'll say.
I appreciate her
Well,
staying.
not him, 'cause I came, so we both. Well, you said.
You are killing me, Ed.
It's 5 minutes.
I didn't see him. Oh, he's.
And okay, while we're waiting for her, we need a motion to approve the elementary roof bid.
Actually, I have questions about that.
Oh, about this?
Yeah.
About the bid? Okay.
Sorry.
You ready? Okay.
Hi.
Hi,
Welcome.
thank you so much. I just wanted to thank the board so much for your approval. I'm very honored and excited to be part of the teacher team. Thank you.
We thank you and
All right.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes, say hello to everybody.
Yep.
Welcome to Beecher, Mrs. Kwasny.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
We're really excited to have you.
Thank you.
You're a welcome addition.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
staying
you.
out too.
Bye.
Okay, and your question is to who?
Yes, for one. So
Wow.
I'm just not being adverse or anything. I'm just honest question, and I apologize because I didn't think of this during the meeting that day, but then it kind of, one thing that I really want us, like, moving forward is to really take a look at, like, where we stand, and like you said, the strategic plan of the district moving forward. And, I mean, this is a lot of money. And if it's even a possibility that we would, you know, use that bond as a new elementary school, should we put this money into the elementary school? That's my question. What do you think?
My personal opinion
Yeah.
is it would take so long
Good
to
point.
get all of that
It's
done.
gonna take at least 5 years
That
anyways.
you're gonna have leaks.
Okay.
It's better to do it.
And this is emergent.
This is,
If you decided in the next 6 months that you're gonna build a new school, you wouldn't have kids in it for 5 years.
Okay. All right, that's what I want to make sure, because then I was like, but, you know, and like I said, I appreciate everything you said about the strategic plan and moving forward, like we gotta be driven. So I just wanted to make sure with that, I appreciate it. Thanks for the answer, guys.
It's a long-term plan.
It is.
Sure it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take years, you're right. That ship steers slowly, right, Mr. Cox?
You got it. Also, very competitive process. I believe we had 5 bids.
Oh.
very good.
And this is a great company, so.
All right, I need a motion to approve the elementary roof bid for total roofing and construction of Dalton, Illinois, in the amount of $219,580 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Weissel?
Yes.
Lucius?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
And Herman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need a motion to approve the asbestos area replacement bid to Construction Solutions, Alsip, Illinois, in the amount of $197,723 as presented. So moved.
Second.
Lucius?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And thank you all for your work, and glad that those came in under estimates.
Those were great numbers,
Yeah.
especially in this environment.
Yeah, way to keep that moving.
I just, President, I have a question on that technology
Yes.
fee. I know it's been spoke about, I know it's $30. I have an issue right now with the climate and everything and COVID. And I don't think that we should be raising things on our residents at this time for $30 for a technology fee. I would ask that we vote this down and bring it back maybe next year, because, you know, let's be realistic. There's many of us here that probably are not hurting, but there's people hurting. $30 is $30. And if you have three or four kids, that can be up to $120.
Yeah, and so, you know, a thing to remember with a fee, fees are always able to be waived, for people who are struggling making ends meet. Just wanted to bring up the conversation because it was almost exactly this time last year when we had the conversation. You know, it's just a recognition more that as every student in the district has a device, having parents have a little skin in that game is really a positive. You know, to me, a couple of these next few motions are kind of tied together, because you also look at the fact that Mr. Duncan has already provided what, you know, next year's hardware allotment is going to look like, and the federal government's going to pay for that for us. Right. And so again, to kind of piggyback off what Ron was saying, if we're in an environment where that next hardware rotation is not actually coming out of our coffers, you know, I think kicking this conversation down the road a year, but making sure this stays on the radar, because it's an important part of the conversation.
Sure. I just don't, you know, I mean, you know, when you say the skin's in the game too, I believe that, you know, truthfully, I believe that there should be an option for parents to buy those Chromebooks if they want for their kids, you know, and then we do the maintenance here. But like I said, I just back to that $30 right now. People are not, and like again, there's people hurting. I don't think raising.
Well, especially with more than one kid.
Yeah.
You know, if they do.
So I just ask that this board, you know, vote it down and
Move the table it.
Yeah, table it for a year.
So I just, in my district, I believe it's $20, but it's also called insurance instead. And I think that verbiage, because if something happens to the kids' computers right now, whether there's damage, you know, whatever, is it just covered, or are they responsible for fees?
Well, that depends.
Okay.
Mr. Duncan has developed a very comprehensive matrix.
Yes.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Duncan, but I believe for the most part, a first damage that's done, unless it's a total intentional damage, that first damage is kind of free of charge. And then for subsequent damages, is that a good enough kind of overview? And then for subsequent damages, then kids have there's a matrix that they go
In
off
case
of.
they repeat? That makes sense.
Yep.
And then do you have to pay for chargers as well?
Yep, your charge is part of that conversation too.
Okay,
Yep.
because with ours, if you lose the charger, you're charged. The other question that I had for that, in my district, and I know Mr. Duncan has talked to them there too, when, like, the way that they recycle out devices now is that, like, 8th graders, that Chromebook is theirs to keep. And then the new devices come in 6th grade. And then they do the same thing in high school, that the new device they get in freshman year, in senior year, that becomes theirs. And I don't know how far that is. I know it's a totally different district and there's totally different plans for that, but that's something that, I would always like to see too. As far as like the $30 goes, right now it's 20 here, right? Is that correct? Are they charged at all?
It's 0.
So, knowing there's fees and knowing that, or there's waivers and stuff like that, and knowing that my district does charge, 20, I would want, maybe not 30, but something, I know, I would agree to having a technology fee.
I agree with you, but I think that this is not the right time to be raising fees. There's another school district, and I think just waive fees for their students.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are aware of it.
I see that.
I understand we're a smaller district, but I think just pushing this down for 1 year, I
Mhm.
think it would be good for our community.
And maybe that $20 in my district allows for the keeping it too, but.
I would agree with Mr. Brzurek and wait with that, not do that this year. I think that there's a lot of people that are struggling right now.
I understand both sides.
Okay, if no one makes a motion, the item will die.
Yep.
Do I have a motion to approve a technology fee of $30 per student for fiscal year 2022 registration? Hearing none, we'll remove it from the item.
You bet. And again, I would recommend that next March you have the same conversation.
Yes.
I believe, next school year.
I need a motion to approve the CARES Grant 2 technology purchase orders number 106, 107, 108, 109, and 110 as presented. And those, of course, are for the technology hardware.
Yep, it's what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Yep, how the federal government's going to pay for that next round of technology, plus taking the opportunity to update our projectors to touchscreens. And again, that the federal government paid for it, that's a huge.
Is that all classrooms?
What we're trying to do is we're trying to get to an environment where it's either touchscreen or TV, whichever the instructor utilizes most
That's great.
efficiently and effectively.
That's great. So moved.
Second.
Mr. Cox had a question. On that item, do we expect to use the additional second round of the CARES funding for additional technology? Or then what else would that be used for? Since I don't think it would, there's excess after paying for both of these, this motion and then the anticipated following one.
Those conversations have not taken place. The district has, I believe, somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 or 18 months from now to finish those expenditures.
Right, but that's not planned for at this point, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
There could be issues we don't even know about.
Okay, roll, Pappas?
Yes.
Berserk?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Need a motion to approve the fiscal year 2022 technology purchase orders number 1, 2, 6, 8, 9, and 10 as presented.
So moved. Duchess.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Mr. Cox had a question here too. Wanted to bring up, I thought I saw in there an additional new software plan. Is it Livewire?
Was that from streaming? Remember? LimeWire? No, it's not.
Go ahead, Joe.
That's the filtering system, so just if I were to provide a little more information. This year is a year that we're up on a 3-year contract, so every 3 to 5 years, depending on the contract, we'll have either a new router equipment or a new filter that helps, block the unwanted websites. So the line-wise would be the filter portion of that.
Oh, line.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are also.
I apologize, I couldn't read my writing.
Oh, no problem. We're also replacing the router, so that's just another piece that goes in the line there. And that's the net gates.
Okay.
Hey, Joe, one quick question while we're on technology. Do you have enough? Do you have enough technology?
Do we have enough? I think we're doing pretty good.
Great.
Seems to be.
Kind of juggling it around. So.
Sure.
I tell you, IT, and Mr. Duncan knows this, IT is a lot like a lot of the other groups in our organization. And, the amount and the pace at which IT usage has increased in the last 2.5 years. And what I've asked for Mr. Duncan and his team, and for them to have responded, and for everything to, not everything always works perfectly. That's not a realistic. But they've done a great job, and you're very fortunate to have him and his team.
Yeah, no doubt.
And while we're at it, is the internet fully up now?
We are live streaming.
And so have all the sports today, thank you.
Yeah, we were doing 3 streams at once, so.
Yeah.
We just wanted to hear you, Joe, that's all. That's all.
No problem.
We appreciate
Thank you for what
you.
you do, Joe.
Yes.
Okay, I have a motion by Duchess and second by Missouri. Roll call, Missouri.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes, always glad to have the government pay for something.
Weissel.
Yes.
Duchess.
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Pappas.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I need a motion to approve the amendment to the Articles of Agreement for the Southern Will County Cooperative for Special Education as presented.
If I could just ask a question. Does this make it easier that, since it seems that everything in Sowick is on the other side of Will County, to, if we ever wanted to join
Withdraw.
forces with other people locally? It does.
Exactly.
Great.
Shortens the time we have to go.
6 months.
Okay, wonderful. That is my dream.
Need a motion.
So moved.
But,
Yes, Liz?
can I ask a, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We could do it after, I guess.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
Question on the plan though, how does that impact us, financially from a cost burden in terms of reallocation if you have a district, or a group of them that would remove themselves and then covering the cost? Can you speak to that specifically?
No, because there are about 7 variables that it would depend on in each given situation.
And it doesn't even just think
But
about
let's
cost.
play that out.
Because you're thinking about transportation there, you're thinking about, what each student costs at different
Facilities.
schools and facilities.
Right,
It's a far off dream for sure. And it might even break even, but the intangibles that would be with that would be priceless. So that those kids don't sit on a bus for over an hour, and so that they're here and hopefully
Yeah,
with
that's not
people close.
Right, I wasn't going to more the cost if, we were to restructure or be part of a different location. That would definitely be more advantageous for us as a district for sure. But looking to if other districts also remove themselves from the SOIC group, does that place more of a financial burden to cover the SOIC costs that the students do receive and that we are charged for, a burden to the districts that would remain?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, it would also depend on how many students
So
are
how,
being removed.
that's a risk that, correct, and nobody can predict that today, right? I'm not
Right.
asking for that, but if I'm thinking about a potential, risk to be aware of or watch if somebody does put a notice in to remove themselves from SOIC, in this case, or in a future case, that potentially increases a financial risk on the district.
I can think of
And am I thinking about that right, Mr. Cox, or?
I can think of situations where.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The change in articles is not for complete withdrawal, it's just for a withdrawal from a particular program and what those timelines are. But I can think of instances where that would be cost neutral. I can think of instances where that would end up costing districts more. I can think of situations where that would end up saving districts money. So there are lots of variables there.
But definitely something to think about, Liz, I agree.
Answer your question, Liz?
Yeah, I think it's something just to be informed of at this point in time.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
I need, did we get a?
I have a motion by Ms. Zurich. I need a second.
Need a second.
Second.
Just a second.
Okay.
Okay, Herman?
Yes.
Weissel?
Yes.
Duchess?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Pappas?
Yes.
Missouri?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, I don't believe we need anything from executive.
And other real quick, Larry, I just want to say that the last special board meeting we had, and we worked as a team and we got it done. I just want to say thanks to everybody again.
I agree.
Okay. Next meeting.
Yep, thanks for getting to a good solution, and enhancing your staff.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Next board meeting, April 12th, 7 o'clock.
And that would be the same day the kids would go longer, is that correct? Okay.
Yep. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Way to jinx it.
Turn it!
Yeah. And we have the 2 upcoming committee meetings.
You want to move that up? I mean, there's no reason we couldn't have it at 5 or 6. If you want to move that meeting up, that might be.
Yeah, I'm up for that, absolutely.
5?
Yeah.
4?
I can do 4.
I can do 4?
Okay.
Oh, no. No, that puts me back on the Bachelor, so no.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brad.
7 o'clock.
Because 7 o'clock,
All right.
I'm back in school. I'm very tired.
Well, are you ready with that?
4 sounds
Monday's
great.
meeting at 4?
We're going to make it at 4.
Monday at 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Send Jana our regards.
Come on.
Okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Voice vote?
Second, Duchess.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. All right, so that is